Hi everybody, my name is Jenny Soderstrom and I did fetal alcohol syndrome. So what is fetal alcohol syndrome, FAS for short? Fetal alcohol syndrome is a severe condition the child is born with due to the mother consuming alcohol throughout her pregnancy. It is 100% preventable. So in order for your child not to get this condition, the mother would not intake any alcohol. Usually to get FAS, the mother indulges in alcohol all 9 months of her pregnancy, which can cause pre and postnatal growth retardation, abnormalities with major organ systems, central nervous system abnormalities, gray matter density in the brain, and facial abnormalities are all associated with a child who has FAS. And as you can see up here, I have the picture of a little boy with fetal alcohol syndrome, and we actually have this example in our book on page 74. But just to be brief, you can tell that they have a thin upper lip, and they also have a short nose, and you can tell like their eyes are a little bit deformed as well. Some implications of fetal alcohol syndrome educational implications would be children with FAS have challenges in the classroom cognitively, so they have difficulty learning, paying attention, and memory and problem solving, so you might have to have more accommodations and modifications for the child. Social emotionally, they are very impulsive and stubborn. They also have poor judgment. So a lot of the poor judgment can relate to if they see negative behaviors, they will also tend to go with those negative behaviors and see what they're doing because they can't make that judgment like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that on their own. And they also have physical implications such as vision, hearing, and poor motor. Some cultural implications, I found it really interesting that Native Americans have the highest rate of FAS. So in the United States, the approximate rate is 0.5 to 2 cases per 1,000 births. The approximate rate for Native Americans is as high as 1.5 to 2.5 per 1,000 births. So that was a fun little statistic that I was able to learn. Some major services provided. So early intervention services are provided to help children with FAS. These services would include the special education teacher and the team along with her, or him, as long as the speech pathologist, the PT, the OT, the psychologist. And there also are support groups for families dealing with FAS. I know that parents need the support, but also the siblings. So the brother and sister might not understand why their sibling is acting in a certain way or why they might look a little bit differently. So that would be a nice idea for the family to get involved in a support group. Some developmental facts. So social emotionally, they have poor social skills, a difficult time getting along with others, or a lot of the times they don't know how to interact with others, so it leads to the poor social skills. They have behaviors, attention deficit, they're very hyperactive, they have difficult time controlling those emotions, they become very irritable, and the way that they express themselves is through tantrums. So if you are in the classroom, for instance, or even at home, the child doesn't know how to express what they want and they can just throw themselves on the floor. Language and literacy. So in the first few years, the speech development defects occur low, and they have low ability to understand. They also have poor fine motor skills. Cognitively, which I kind of talked about over here, but they may not reach the milestones at the expected time. So they have delays in walking, talking, and toileting. So if they're coming to school for the first time, they may not know how to wash their hands. They may not know how to pull up their pants. They could still be in a diaper. They have difficult time concentrating in school, so transitioning would be very difficult. Maybe apply some more visuals for them to understand. Same with understanding and learning the rules. They're so easily distracted. So they need structure and simple directions in order for them to be successful. Physical. So when a child is born with FAS, they tend to have low birth weight and a small head circumference, a short nose and thin upper lip, like which I touched base on over here. A lot of these features are most seen clearly at the age of 2. And last, for sensory, the babies, when they are born, they can be very fussy and jittery and also have poor sucking response and trouble sleeping. They can have sensitivity to temperature, sight, sound, and touch. So if we go up here towards the other portion of my pamphlet, medications for fetal alcohol syndrome. So fetal alcohol syndrome, there is not a medication to treat it, but because of some of the symptoms the child is expressing, there are medications to help with it. So for instance, antidepressants, if you notice that the child is becoming sad and very negative, they are stimulants for hyperactive deficiency, ADHD, ADD, and behaviors, neuroplexics for anxiety and aggression, and anti-anxiety meds for the child expressing anxiety. And lastly, some resources for parents. The one I thought was the most helpful if I was going through a situation like this was the one I put on top. It was the National Organization for Fetal Alcohol Syndrome. This website had lots of FAQs, facts, diagnosing the treatment, support, and different types of resources. It had everything you want to know about fetal alcohol syndrome, and I think it would be very beneficial for families that want to learn more about it. And there also were some books that I found, the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome Perspective on Diseases and Disorders. This was the one that I would most recommend because it has different perspectives from people who are actually coping with FAS, such as patients and families and caregivers. And the book was by Jacqueline Lansquith. So as you can see, fetal alcohol syndrome is 100% preventable. And I hope everyone was able to learn a little bit more information about it. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye.